Hello everyone and welcome to our video series on Learn German for Beginners. In the previous lesson, you learned the past tense of sein and haben, that is, war and hatte. In this lesson, you will be learning Untrennbare Verben, non-separable verbs. We would recommend you to watch the lesson on Trennbare Verben before you begin with this video. The link is given below in the description. So, let's begin. Lektion 42. Untrennbare Verben. At some places, you might also read nicht trennbare Verben. Let's first go through the learning objectives of this lesson. We will begin with what are untrennbare Verben? What is their position in a sentence? How to conjugate them? And finally, we'll be learning a few untrennbare Verben. Let's first look at a trennbares Verb and an untrennbares Verb. Aufstehen. Verstehen. Now, if you look at both these verbs, they both look similar. The first verb is made up of auf and stehen. This verb is separable. That means when you use it, you conjugate stehen and auf goes at the end. Verstehen is also made of a prefix, ver and stehen. In both the cases, the verbs have a prefix. And the second part is the normal verb, in this case stehen. Since the prefix of the first verb is separable, it is called a trennbares Verb. In the second verb, you cannot separate the prefix, but use the verb as a whole. This verb is known as untrennbares Verb. Another basic difference between the two verbs is die Betonung or the intonation. In the case of trennbare Verben, the intonation or the stress is on the prefix. For example, aufstehen. In the case of untrennbare Verben, the stress is not on the prefix, verstehen. Let's see a few examples to understand that. How is an untrennbares Verb used as a Vollverb? Er versteht mich gut. As you can see, the verb here is in the second position. It is conjugated, but the prefix is not separated from the verb. What happens when we frame questions? In the case of W-Frage, warum verstehst du mich nicht? Here again, the verb is in the second position and conjugated. In the case of a Ja-Nein-Frage, verstehst du mich? Like all other verbs, untrennbares Verb will also be in the first position and conjugated. The prefix is not separated. Now let's see what happens when we use this verb with a Modalverb. Ich kann dich verstehen. So like with all other verbs, the Modalverb will be in the second position, conjugated, and untrennbares Verb will be at the end of the sentence and in infinitive. If you feel you need to revise Modalverben, you can do that. The link is given below in the description. Now let's see how to conjugate the verb. Since the prefix is not going to be separated from the verb, the conjugation is very simple. Depending on whether the verb is regular or irregular, you have to conjugate accordingly. And if you want to revise the conjugation of regular and irregular verbs, you can watch the videos. The links are given below. So here's the conjugation. Ich verstehe, du verstehst, sie verstehen, sie es versteht, wir verstehen, ihr versteht, sie verstehen, sie verstehen. Now let's go through a few untrennbare Verben. The first prefix is be, and the first verb is bekommen. Let's see how to use it. Wir bekommen bald eine neue Lehrerin. Here's another verb with the same prefix. Bezahlen. Kannst du bitte heute bezahlen? Ich habe kein Geld. The next prefix, which is not separated from the verb, is emp. And the first verb, as an example, is empfehlen. Herr Ober, was empfehlen Sie mir heute? Another example is empfangen. Der Schulleiter empfängt seine Gäste herzlich. Since empfangen is an irregular verb, so on conjugation, it will take an umlaut. The next prefix is ent. And here's the first verb. Entdecken. Mein Sohn entdeckt jeden Tag etwas Neues. Let's move on to the next example. Entleeren. Am Montag müssen wir die Mülltonne entleeren. The next prefix is er. And here's the first example. Erzählen. Mein Großvater erzählt interessante Geschichten. Here's the next verb. Erkennen. Kannst du mich auf diesem Foto erkennen? You must have noticed that in some of the examples we have used Modalverben. In that case, nicht trennbares Verb is placed at the end of the sentence. The next prefix is ge. And here's the first verb, gehören. Die Uhr gehört mir. The next verb is gefallen. Mir gefällt dein neues Haus. The two verbs that we just did, gehören and gefallen, are Dativverben. If you want to revise Dativverben, you can watch the video. The link is given below. Here comes the next prefix, miss. And the first verb is missbrauchen. Tom kann nie mein Vertrauen missbrauchen. The next verb with this prefix is missverstehen. Im Unterricht kann man die Anweisungen manchmal missverstehen. The next prefix is ver. And here's the first verb, verkaufen. Verkauft sein altes Haus. And the second verb is verlieren. Wenn ich Schach spiele, verliere ich immer. And finally, the last one, zer. And the first verb is zerstören. Ein Erdbeben kann manchmal viele Häuser zerstören. The next verb is zerkleinern. Mein Mixer zerkleinert alle Gemüsesorten. So all these prefixes that we just did make the verbs nicht trennbar. I'm sure you'll find them easy to learn. Danke! Thanks for watching this video. If you like this video, do give it a thumbs up and share it with your friends. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel and click on the bell to receive notifications whenever a new video is uploaded. If you have any comments or questions, you can leave them in the comment section below. Tschüss, auf Wiedersehen!